Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Core Racing Network. Tonight, the CSRL GT Series heads to Cheshire, England for round number 2 here of their just packed full of racers series here. I mean, we got a ton of guys out here tonight. Looks like we got currently 33 there. They're still hopping in here, but a lot of cars out there ready to try and tackle this track here. Oulton Park Circuit is certainly one that these drivers are going to have to watch out on just about every corner. This thing can bite you just about everywhere. As soon as you feel comfortable, that's when it attacks. So we'll see if these drivers can handle it, but it's going to be fun. I mean, if it's anything like race number 1, these guys put on a great show in both the amateur and professional class, and I mean, fireworks all the way to the end. We've seen both of the leaders in the waning minutes end up throwing their wins away. So we'll see if they can get some bounce back this week, or see if we have some new winners, maybe some repeat winners. But Carl Hamwork in the booth here tonight, joined by Joe Sullivan. Joe, another road course. It's not an oval, but I mean, after last week, you got to be pumped. You got to be just having a ball up here.
Yeah, I'm excited for what these guys can do here. I mean, they put on a great show last week, and another big field here tonight, and a good mix of the pros and the amateurs. So I'm excited to see what they can do here and see what unfolds here tonight, and see if maybe some of these guys that are running up front can stay up there and not have a 32nd minute disaster what we had last week there.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. It was definitely a disaster for some of these guys, and really killed any chance of having a good finish. I mean, you did see them bounce back, but I mean, when you're up there leading for a majority of the race, coming home in, third, coming home in fourth, it doesn't feel right. Yeah, it's a top 3, it's a top 5, whatever it might be, but man, it hurts. It's not fun. But again, we'll see what these guys are doing out here tonight. But I want to thank once again our sponsor here for the series, that being 4D Racewear. They are the makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 4D sim racing shoes, custom engineered to connect racers to the pedals in no other way racing shoes can, while still providing the comfort needed for those double and triple stints. Visit 4dracewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products, including the original racing gloves for your feet. And with that being said, the pre-race interview we're going to bring in here is the owner of 4D Racewear, that being Jim Herrick. Jim, welcome to the booth. I certainly want to send a thank you on our behalf for helping these guys out with the sponsorship this year. And I mean, obviously you got some great products over there, so they should do the speaking for themselves. But want to get you in here and give you a chance to to introduce yourself, introduce the company here a little bit, and talk to us about 4D Racewear.
I thank you. I'm sorry, they were doing the drivers meeting there, so I had both you talking at the same time. But yeah, thanks for having me on the pre-race here.
Yeah, so I mean, tell us about the company, about 4D Racewear. Obviously, I mean, you got the great racing shoes right there. That these guys can purchase by going to the website. They can check you out on all the social media platforms. But what made you kind of get into the sim racing, the custom footwear and the company itself, and also what made you come on and sponsor these guys over here at CSRL?
Well, the company started basically just out of a need for a product. I was using racing in my socks before I had load cell pedals, but with the pedals getting better and the forces required for braking all the time now getting stronger, socks weren't cutting it, but I didn't feel so connected to the pedals when I used like kart racing shoes or regular racing shoes. So I started looking for something, couldn't find it, and then eventually decided that can't get it done right, you just do it yourself, right?
Absolutely. So I mean, what's the it's pretty much all geared towards sim racing, I'm assuming. And has it been fruitful since you guys started? Have there been a lot of feedback from the drivers to help your product move along?
Yeah, the feedback has been great. Everyone who's tried a pair has loved them, and it's encouraged me to keep moving forward. Everything's really knew the business end of it's only really been going for a couple years now, and so there's a lot for me to learn about marketing and advertising and getting the getting the word out to other racers outside of the leagues that I race in, and the sponsorship that I do in iRacing, and the CSRL league. These guys have been big supporters of me, and I really appreciate that, and I wanted to help them out and help them get a broadcast for this season, because the racing here has been really fun and really close, all up and down the field. There's always someone to battle with, and I always have a good time here.
Yeah, it looked like it was a fun time for sure. I mean, Suzuka last week, we'll talk about the racing side of it now, had a decent run going the way it seemed, and then just not really the finish that you're probably looking for there, finishing a little bit deeper in the pack. So was it Suzuka that came up and bit you there, or was it just kind of getting a feel for the other drivers out here?
Well, I had a little help at Suzuka. It's funny, when I was watching the broadcast, you guys were on my car leading up to the corner where it happened, and then it was right as you went to a break, and so we didn't see it, but I was low on fuel, and my car was getting a little sketchy, and there was another driver behind me who was on fresh tires, I think, or he was faster anyway, and he was setting me up for a pass, and I may have checked him up a little bit going into the corner, and he got in the back of me and spun me into the barrier, and I couldn't really get much back after that. But yeah, Suzuka's a tough track, and it's one I really enjoy, so I was a little disappointed about that, but it's all for fun, and we'll come back this week and try and get the 4D Racewear car up, maybe even get an M-Class podium, who knows.
There you go, and then we can talk to you again afterwards for sure. So just real quick about Oulton Park here, is it another track that you fancy? I mean, that this thing just has a little bit of everything here. I mean, you got the chicanes, you got the fast corners, you got fast straightaways, you even got a little banked hairpin there. I mean, what is it about Oulton Park that makes it special for you?
It's terrifying. It's honestly, I don't have much love for it. I have a lot of experience at Suzuka, and this track not so much. I tried to do a lot of practice this week, so I wouldn't look terrible, but it's got a lot of really fast corners where little mistakes will cost you big, and it's not a lot of real good passing opportunities here, so everybody's going to have to be patient and give a lot of room, and I think staying on the pavement is going to be a key to success.
I mean, you can certainly run 2 wide and maybe even sneak in 3 wide on this track, but when you're out there racing, it feels more like a cattle chute. It just feels like it's barely 1 lane wide. So wish you good luck out there, but before we let you go and head out there to qualifying, anybody you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Yeah, I'd love to give a shout out to my teammates, Dan Morera and Christopher. I'm not sure if Chris is going to make it here tonight. He was having birthday dinner for his son tonight, so happy birthday to little Stouffer Jr. And also to Michael Carrillo, who's also our teammate, and unfortunately he surpassed the 3,500 iRacing cap this week, and so he's not able to race tonight. We may have lost him for the season, so shout out to those guys, and yeah, and to you guys for doing the broadcast, and to Jim for all the hard work he does as an admin.
Yeah, I mean, typically we have a saying over here, sucks to suck, but I guess in this case it's sucks to not suck. So we lose the driver there for being a little too good. But we'll let you get out there to qualifying, and I want to thank you once again for coming on board and helping these guys out. Again, 4dracewear.com. Get your original racing gloves for your feet. Thank you, Jim, and good luck to you out there. Maybe we'll speak to you after the race.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you very much.
All right, again, that is Jim Herrick, and he is the owner over there at 4D Racewear. He is also the driver of the number 40 out there in the AM class, and I mean, obviously, great products over there. Certainly check them out if you're looking to really get into sim racing. I mean, you know, me and Joe, we talked about it last week. It's a hobby. I mean, hobbies are going to cost you money. It all depends on how much you want to get into it. I mean, you look at any hobby. You even look at you know, bowling. I mean, you got guys that just want to go and have fun and, you know, go out and use the house balls and the house shoes, or you got guys that come in there with, you know, a 6-ball bag and their own shoes, and sometimes even 2 pairs of shoes. I mean, it's all how much you want to put into it, and sim racing is the same thing. But if you want to truly get good at what you're doing, it's you know, it's definitely something you want to look into with the 40 Racewear. But one thing I do want to take a look at is the results essentially from last week and how that shook up the standings, and show you guys. Obviously, your winner last week, Tim Ponzi, is going to be heading up the Pro Division standings, and then Garrett Pittman going to be heading up the AM Division standings. So we'll leave the standings up there and let you guys browse through them. Joe, obviously, I'm sure you don't have too much experience out here at Oulton Park, if any, but I mean, you seen last week, you seen how important it was just keeping the car on the track, just keeping it safe. I mean, I feel it's going to be the same thing here tonight, and really, you know, for the entire season. But what are your takeaways from week 1 and what you're looking forward to these guys doing?
Yeah, just talking to Jim there, it sounds like it's going to be another race from last week where it's just be smooth, and not necessarily we may be in another situation where the fastest car may not win here tonight. It may be a situation where the smoothest guy, like last week, Tim Ponzi, I mean, maybe not had the speed that Craig had, but he ended up not making any mistakes and was the smoothest driver and ended up coming away with the win. And by talking with Jim there, and it sounds like it's going to be something similar here tonight at this track with this setup.
You're listening to see what last year's M-Class champion Renan de Lima does this week. Obviously not exactly a good week last week, and we even seen some guys have some trouble in turn 1. Turn 1 here is going to be a little bit of the same. Unfortunately, this thing is really tough. I mean, every corner on this track can be tough, but you're looking right now. Well, once you get the standings at the screen there for you guys, and the top portion of that screen, the one that is kind of coming down towards you, see the car coming through it right now. That is turn number 1, and it's just not even a 90-degree corner, but the speeds that you're carrying, and it kind of goes up and over a hill a little bit. Real easy to just kind of overshoot it and get yourself off into the grass, and it's not going to hurt you, it's not going to kill you, but if you get out there too far, it will give you a slowdown. Either way, it will give you a 1X, and these guys, you know, will have to worry about that for sure. But you know, it's not maybe the corner that's going to hurt you. Coming down into turn number 2, I mean, it's just I could go through every one of these corners. It's really tough. You got to really try and keep the cars on the track. We'll try and hop on board with somebody that's out there qualifying and just kind of give you an idea of what they're looking at. So we're right on board here with Marco Chacon right now, and we'll jump in the cockpit. Excuse me, see if I can find it here.
17 turns with this setup. I mean, like Jim was saying, there's going to be, I mean, they have to set up your passes here. And with, we got 30-some cars here. This is going to be a packed course, especially after we get going.
Well, I think that's kind of the biggest thing is these guys are going to have to figure out how to race around each other and do it pretty quickly, because these corners are going to come up hot and heavy. And you see, this is the last corner right here. So we'll see if Marco's going to go around for another lap. But right here, the start-finish line, come up over a little crest. Turn number 1 right here, Old Hall corner, and you see right there just overcooks a little bit, trying to keep it on the inside. And luckily for us, he's going to back it up here and hopefully take you around the rest of the track. And looks like nope. So we'll see if anybody else is going around out there, and possibly Gregory Mismer. We'll try and see if we can hop on board with him. And perfect timing. So going across the line, and again turn 1, and of course his lap may be done right now. And yeah, not helping us out, but we will take you through the corners here. But Yeah, I mean, turn one, obviously very tough. You look down here. This is essentially turn number 2. You come over the little crest right there. This is Cascades coming through. And, of course, now it just wants to change on me here. So we'll get it back if we can. There we go. So Cascades right here, just a long kind of sweeping right-hand corner. Then right here, this little corner, it's just a little kink, and it's literally called Island Bend. And you're taking a look down there at turn number 2. It's not wanting to pan over there, as everybody's just kind of finishing up with qualifying. So that's why it keeps kicking me off of these corners. But that's another corner that is you're taking it at full speed, if not just letting it breathe just a little bit, getting through there, and it's one that you can just overshoot a little bit. And if you do, you're going to be heading pretty much full speed into the hairpin, which you see the island bend right there in the top left corner. It looks a lot more treacherous right there, but pretty much full speed. And then you come into the hairpin right here, and it is it's a bank corner, so you can take it a little bit faster than maybe what you're ready for the first couple times you come in here. You head into the first chicane here. This is Britain's. Both of these chicanes on the backstretch are absolutely treacherous. You see the big tire walls inside both the corners there. You're not going to want to go too wide there. It's bad enough going one wide. You head into the next chicane here. This is Hislop, and same thing. You see those big tires, and they will absolutely end your race before it even gets started. But speaking of getting started, that's about half of the track right there, and that's before you start getting into the hills and the very fast sections of the track. But we are all done with qualifying. Let's take a look at the results from said qualifying. And the top of the boards for the Pro class is going to be James Scioli with a 132.435. Tim Ponzi, last week's winner, just a mere 0.06 of a second behind, starting in second. Frank Bassano, Jim Dutton, Peter Moeller make up your top 5. Joseph Carnes, Dan Morera, Skylar Vickroy, Craig Jancic, Gregory Mesmer rounding out your top 10. Rounding out the pro field is going to be AJ Roderick, Marco Chacon, Stephen Price, Brandon Fetterplace, Alan Elwood, and Renan DeLima. Both Alan Elwood and Renan DeLima not putting in a time here tonight, so hopefully we'll still see them out there on the track. Over in the AM class, top of the boards is going to be John Seamer with a 133.8. Randy Ayers, Corey Frug, Glenn Lazon, Jason Potts making up your top 5. Then you got Jay Little, Ian Wilson, Christian Torres, Gray Welch, Justin Tucker, your top 10. Rounding out the AM class is going to be Jim Herrick, Garrett Pittman, Antonio Diaz, Brandon Potts, Chris Edwards, Corey Laperouse, and Brian Farron. And see a lot of the guys back here from 12th on back not sitting at time, whether that was by choice or by the track's choice. It could have been just a quick off track, but I mean, just take a look. I mean, if you like any kind of GT racing, you take a look at all those cars out there, and if that doesn't get you excited, check your pulse. There's something wrong with you. That is just a beautiful sight seeing all those GT cars getting ready to post up here and get this thing going. Now, if you're in a car and you're mid-pack in here, or you're back of the pack, this is scary. This is an absolute nightmare.
Very interesting first lap here, Carl.
Yeah.
And very interesting because, I mean, last week, Alan Elwood was your third place finisher, and whether he didn't get a lap in or whatever, now he's going to be starting back here in 26th. And last week's amateur winner, Garrett Pittman, right by him in 27th. But these guys with good finishes last week, I think they both started towards the back too back then, last week. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can get through this.
Well, we're going to see how they get through it right now as James Scioli leads these guys down into turn number 1, and we're racing here at Oulton Park. And I think we'll just keep it. Yeah, we'll keep it looking at turn number 1, and yeah, already seeing some issues there. Try and see. It looks like Dan Morera possibly getting caught in a lap 1 melee. The 404. Maybe just getting a little help from behind. Stops it even before the cone there. So it looks like everybody does make it through. And Dan Morera does get back on track here. So we'll rejoin the field, and it is James Scioli leading these guys down into the first chicane here. You see just how tight that is. Getting around Britain's not easy at all. Nice little straightaway here before you head down into the second chicane, this being Hislop. And then a quick little right-hander right here called Knickerbocker before you head up Clay Hill. This is turns 13 and 14 coming up over a crest here. You want to keep the car to the right. Quick jut to the left right there. Keep it left before you turn hard to the right going through Druid's Corner. And then a nice little straightaway here. You got Warwick's Bridge, and then heading into the last corner. And this is a very, very tricky end to a lap at any track. If you come around there, you go up and over the hill. Real big drop down as you go through Lodge Corner, and then up and over the start-finish line. That completes your lap there, and you just got to do that for 40 minutes. It's just, you know, it's nice and easy. You don't have to worry about no other cars out there. And, yeah, it's simple, right, Joe? You can handle this.
Yeah, I mean, it looked real simple up here. I mean, I did a great job in my head there. To see how these guys can do it.
Not a single off track.
No, I mean, it was flawless.
Well, so far so good for these guys up front here, as James Scioli leading by 1.1 seconds over Tim Ponzi. And to me, this is about maybe the only fun corner here at Oulton Park, is a little bit of a bank corner. Maybe it's probably going to be yours too as well. I mean, obviously being the oval guy, a bank turn, sure. I'm sure Joe will enjoy that one. It does go the wrong way for you, but it's still a bank turn.
I would take it. I would take it. And if they're thinking about road, like, especially this road course with the elevation changes, that's something that's totally, you know, out of the realm from the oval side of it. You know, it's not like we don't have any kind of elevation changes, you know, down the straightaway or and moving up the banking, but like that's something that is kind of throws you for like for me, like visually, you know, because you pop up over a hill or you're coming up onto the top of a hill and you don't know, like, I mean, eventually you know the track and everything, but the first couple times or the first laps you put on a track, it's like you're driving into a black hole. It seems like it's kind of weird.
It creates blind corners, and that's one thing you don't typically have in oval races. Is you don't have blind corners. But I mean, you see this one right here. You're coming up and over the corner. You can't really pick out the exit. You know where you're supposed to be coming out of that corner until you get up and over. And sometimes it's a little bit too late. You don't realize that you have a little bit too much speed, or sometimes you feel like you gave up a lot because you don't have enough speed to carry up and over there. But taking a look at the leader here in the M class, this being John Seamer, doing a good job trying to hold off Randy Ayers right now, who's not going away. He's staying right there, about a half a second behind. I've had a few guys go off. I haven't seen anybody else wreck, at least per SDK here. Looks like everybody's still hanging in, but possibly, yeah, it looks like I'll have to take a look back here. This being Brian Farron, see what happened to him.
I think we had two separate issues here.
Right there. Looks like him and Corey Laperouse get together in turn number 1. It looked like any kind of damage or anything like that to either of the cars, and they get it back going straight. And I guess no harm, no foul. Certainly going to lose some track time here and lose out to the pack. But cars are still clean, and we're still making it around here. And I think that's short of these tough chicanes here that these guys are going to have to go through. Again, I don't think there's too many places where you're going to destroy the car. Obviously, there's tire barriers. Every time the guys go by them, I have to wince a little bit because it's so tight going through there, especially the exit of both of them, because you want to get inside, you want to take those curbs, and you want to get every little bit of speed and not lose out to the guy in front of you and pull away from the guy behind. But you got to be careful. It is just all kinds of sketchy. So real interesting, the leader here in the M class, John Seamer, you see the times right there. The purple time means that is the fastest lap of the race. All those green times means that is their personal best times. Then the white times just, I guess you want to say just another lap. But the purple time there for John Seamer, fastest lap of the race so far in the M class with a 1:33.87. Fastest lap in the Pro class right now is being held by Tim Ponzi with a 1:32.52. So see, about a second and a half faster is the Pro class drivers, but they got to share the track out here. And looks like the 198 there of Stefan Price at the back of the pack right now, looking at the time and scoring. He is trying to catch up to these guys. He is the last car running right now, as Jason Potts looks like he had a bit of an off-track earlier, and he is now back in pit lane, and Chris Edwards doesn't look like he took the green flag here tonight, but currently 31 drivers still out there on the track, as we are now on minute number 6 here, and still tight. I mean, still, you know, only about 3/4 of a second separating the first and second here in the M class, and taking a look up here at the Pro Division, it's even closer. I mean, half a second separates them.
Yeah, we talked last week about how the Mercedes wasn't in there, and it looks like it's the same this week. It's like a lot of Porsches here tonight. Seems to be the car of the night. Seems like about half the field, maybe.
Yeah, I definitely, if not more, it's good. Half to 2/3 of the field driving the Porsche here tonight. And I guess I'm not too surprised about that. The newer version of this Porsche has been widely acclaimed. I mean, it is a fun car. The old Porsche was known for being fast, but being really edgy and really a tough car to drive. Possibly one of the fastest in the fields, but you had to be able to wrangle that thing in. The newer Porsche still has most of the same speed, but certainly a lot better handling, and that's why I think a lot of guys are tending towards the Porsche. And it almost kind of went the opposite way with the Ferrari. The Ferrari, when that came out, was in my opinion just fantastic, but it's slowly gotten worse and worse the way it seems as the updates come through. But a lot of guys taking to this Porsche. It's got the speed, and it's still nimble, and you kind of need both here. You need a car that's really, you know, going to shift back and forth, getting through these chicanes and getting up and over these corners. And it's, like you said, Joe, I mean, it's bad enough trying to go through all these corners if it was a flat track, but you throw in all these undulations. I mean, these guys are going up and down, up and over corners, down, around. It throws the weight of the car all over the place, and it's really a track you have to practice.
Yeah, and there's like this track and with all these cars in here, there's just so much going on, because not only you're racing the track, and then you got the up and downs, and then you're worrying about other cars, and then you're trying to set up the car in front of you to get a pass if you got making some time on him, or if a guy behind you is faster, you're trying to figure out when is a good spot that he can, you know, maybe get around you or whatever, and do it cleanly so that you can continue on and try to get better laps. And it's such a mental game here. I mean, along with the physical of just turning constantly. I mean, I'm used to just getting in the seat and turning left a little bit and trying to figure out, you know, where my braking point is, or how much brake I need to get in, or when to you know, get the gas coming out of the turn. So
that's the next thing I was going to bring up. I mean, it's one thing leading a pack, and you can see where your braking point is, you can see where your turning point is, but then you're riding on board right now with Jim Herrick, and you see with a big Porsche right in front, and you're tucked in behind somebody, you want to stay close because you want to be able to capitalize when they make a mistake, but your vision is hampered so much. I mean, you're right there on board with him right now. You see what he sees, and you know, regardless if you got single screen, triple screen, if you got VR, it's still, you know, kind of tunnel vision, and you have to really pinpoint, and a lot of times you're driving muscle memory. I mean, you have to run this track multiple times, multiple laps, just to get an idea of, okay, at this tree, or at this overpass, or, you know, sometimes, I mean, it sucks as the day goes on, but sometimes you're picking out shadows on the track, and you know that you're braking at this shadow, or at this, you know, cone, whatever it might be. You cannot just rely on muscle memory. You have to look at little things, you know, off the track, and luckily here they do have some markers. I mean, there's a lot of tracks that you can go to that don't even have markers, as Herrick is gonna take an early pit stop here. Maybe I don't mind this option here. These guys are gonna have to make a pit stop just like they did last week, but this gives you know, this gives them the option to get out of all that melee. I mean, he was stuck right in the middle of a bunch of cars right there, and maybe felt like he was getting held up a little bit. So you get out of there, he should come out with some clean air, and hopefully be able to run a little bit better once he gets back out. But I mean, it's a mental game. It's mentally draining running some of these road races, and you know, the fact that they have 12 and 24-hour races. I mean, I've competed in them, but it's really, really mentally. I mean, when you get out of the car, whether you run a 2-hour stint, you run, you know, a 4-hour stint. Heck, I've run 6-hour stints before, and you're physically tired. There's parts of you that is physically tired, whether it's your arms, your legs, but you get out of it and you're just mentally drained. And even though this is only a 40-minute race here for these guys, yeah, it's quick, but your mind is constantly having to think.
Yeah, because even though, like you said, even though it is short, though, you're still trying to be fast. So you're trying to process all this information and be in front of everybody. And like, that's where like following cars like that, when you're, for me anyways, like it's hard to just trust, I guess, my line or whatever, and still be able to run my race with those cars in front of me. Sometimes you just almost have to forget that those cars are even there with the way you're racing the track, and still, I mean, obviously know that they're there, but you still want to be able to hit your marks. But it's just it's so visually it's something else for me, because it's hard to, I need a lot more track time obviously, but like it just it's, I don't know, it's weird. I don't know, it's just a different feeling for me on this stuff. So
and really it doesn't matter what car you get out here with. I mean, you can get out here with you know, the MX-5 or, you know, heck, even the you know, the Pontiac Solstice. Yeah, it's a slower car, but you're going to be tucked up even closer to the guys in front of you because everybody's packed up. It's still going to be very tough trying to think about every little move you got to make. It'll come at you a little bit slower, but these guys out here doing it in the GT3s, these cars get around the track pretty quickly, and these corners come up pretty fast, including the braking zones, and it just takes one little mistake, and you know, you brake a little bit too late in a corner, you lock it up. Either you get into the car in front of you, or maybe you blow through the corner, and it could cost you a ton. And you see right now, it's a bit of follow the leader. It's not exactly easy getting around the cars here tonight, and you're kind of waiting for the mistake. You're watching Renan de Lima right now. Again, the guy we talked about, AM class champion last year, but kind of buried in the AM class right now. He's running 20th on the you know, 20th in the field, 13th in the pro class, but a lot of amateur class drivers in front of him right now. He's just having a tough time even getting around them.
And looks like, speaking of the leader there, Ponzi he's creeping in on the leader.
Yeah, the lead once again back down to 0.6 here as Tim Ponzi, we've seen it last week. He was right up there, second, third place, and just kind of stalking and waiting for the mistake to happen, and eventually did happen later in the race, and he was able to capitalize and grab that first win. But looks like he's got some speed out here. Both these guys out front in the Porsche, and I mean, you want to talk about class of the field. These guys have gapped the rest of the field by 5.5 seconds right now. Frank Bassano, the one in third, running in the Audi, is a good distance away from these guys. You don't even see him in your screen right there as these guys head around to the final corner here and complete another lap. But we are getting close to 15 minutes into this thing already clipping over to the 14-minute mark. Seen some guys come in and make their pit stops. So it looks like about 6 or 7 guys have already come in and made their pit stops. Stefan Price, the only one in the pro class. Actually, looks like Marcus Chacon making his pit stop as well there on lap number 7. And Stefan maybe coming back into the pits. He had to jump into the pits actually, so
yeah,
having some issues
like
here.
Crash or something.
Yep, let's take a look at it right here. Gets a little sideways in the 198. Oh man, barely getting to the tire barrier. It's nice when iRacing does that for you and links the bumper back on there, but he ended up towing it back into the pits. Obviously, some major issues. And it's another thing too with these cars. They can take a little bit of a beat, a little bit, if you hit them the right way. You know, if you bump into somebody, you know, from the front, from the back, whatever it may be, it's not too bad. But if you're turning the wheel at all and you just brush the wall, 9 times out of 10, they will almost immediately get suspension damage. You'll be trying to drive the rest of that lap or the rest of the race if you got the cojones to do it with the wheel at a 15 or even 45-degree angle. I think I've had it as bad as 90 degrees one time just trying to limp it back to the pits, but you get suspension damage very easy because you got that little, you know, that tire sticking out just a little bit. You brush that wall and you figure that the wall is not going to move, but the tire will, and it's just going to break all kinds of components in there. These guys do have the faster pair, but I mean, if you can't limp it back to the pits quick enough, you're going to be losing a ton of time before you even get that thing done. And looks like we had another issue. This one is Glenn Lazan coming back on the track here. This is after he crashed, I believe, and oh, wow. Coming into his lap there, looks like he just got on the grass there a little bit, and the car just hooked to the left, and he decides to bring it back into pit lane as well. But hot and heavy, this is your best battle on the track right now, and it is down to 0.3 of a second. Who was going to blink first? Who was going to come into the pits first? Will the short pit come into play here for one of these drivers? Either for Scioli to try and pull away a little bit, maybe Ponzi to try and jump him on the short pit. We'll see what happens here, but we are now in the 16-minute mark, so getting close to halfway already as these guys are coming around on lap number 11. So, I mean, a minute and a half on the lap is, it seems like it's a long time, but when you're constantly doing something, you're turning to the left, you're turning to the right, you're going up and down. You're not even really thinking about laps. You're just thinking about, okay, what do I got to do next?
Yeah, this is going to be like the quickest 40 minutes probably of their lives. I mean, there's just so much going on here. And 40 minutes is going to feel like a breeze once we get done with this race. But Ponzi is just lurking there again, another week.
I mean, we talk about it. We talked about it last week. Tracks that give you a chance to breathe. Suzuka, you have one or two chances there to breathe. On the straightaways here. Yeah. I mean, right here you get a half a breath, and then you get another maybe quarter breath as you head into the hairpin. I mean, I'm trying to take a breath while I'm going through the hairpin just because it's something I'm used to, a little bit of banking there. But yeah, I mean, a little bit of breathing right here before you head into the first of the very difficult chicanes. You're heading into Britain's. I mean, it's constantly coming at you. I mean, even when you're on the straightaways here, even when you're straightaway between Britain's and Hislop, you're already thinking about, okay, I need to stay over to the left. I need to be able to hit the breaking point exactly right. Turn in as early as possible, but certainly not too early. You're going to catch those tires. And you know, same thing. You want to carry that speed through there, but you almost want to give up the entry a little bit so you can make sure you get a good rotation around and out and set up your next corners. But these guys up here are doing a fantastic job. Again, now it's 7.5 seconds in between second and third overall. So these guys, class of the field right now, but we're not even halfway. So we'll see who blinks first here. Scioli ahead of Ponzi, Pisano, Dutton, and Moeller, your top 5 in the pro class. Over in the AM class, you got Seamer, Ayers, Wilson, Welch, and Torres, your top 5. And oh, by the way, Joe, this is now becoming the best battle on the track as Ayers has caught up to Seamer. Only 0.4 of a second separating these guys, and they've got an 18-second gap till they get to their third place guy in Wilson.
Man, we were talking about breathing there, and that, like, you think it's just, I mean, who breathe all day, every day, you know? So, but like, once you can like breathe while you're racing, it just kind of slows everything else down. I remember like the first, I did some real life racing, and I wasn't breathing. So then when you're not breathing, you just kind of panic. Like when you get into a situation where you need to make a move, or or you try to make a pass, or you're trying to do something, or try to avoid a wreck. And if you're not breathing properly, I know it sounds silly or whatever, but if you're not breathing properly, and when those situations come up, you're not going to handle it correctly. At least I didn't when I first started getting in real life racing. And it's when you're at a track like this where there's not much time to get a breath, it's you got to try to figure out how you can get that in there, and so you don't make those mistakes, or avoid a mistake from getting into somebody else who had a mistake or a situation like that.
Well, another thing too is when you're taking those shorter breaths, when you're so focused on racing and you're not focused on breathing at all. You think it just comes as second nature, but like you said, I mean, you're so tense and not breathing. One is going to make you tense by itself, but two, you're not getting oxygen to those muscles, so that's going to tense you up even more. And what's a tense driver going to do? He's prone to make more mistakes, so he's going to be even more tense and make sure he's not making mistakes. So it's just something that snowballs, and it's amazing. But that's why you hear drivers in real life talking about it constantly, and even you saying it right there. You have to breathe, and you have to know how to keep your body in control. And what's a lot of times an uncontrollable situation.
Yeah. And like, you know, back in the day or whatever, like race car drivers aren't athletes. I'm like, okay, well, how about you get in the car and put these laps down and come out and let's see if the race car drivers are athletes or not. It's not. It's more than just driving a car. You know, it's a little bit different than that. You have to have some kind of physical attributes, you know, to be able to do them. You know, like I know Jimmy Johnson was like he's a big bike rider or whatever, and a lot of the guys nowadays, they're like, they have their own workout programs. I mean, they are in the gym and doing a lot of this stuff to have the endurance to be able to do, you know, the 500 miles or a 40-minute race or, you know, a six-hour session, you know, a 4-hour session or whatever it may be for them. But these guys are athletes, and breathing is, like we said, is key to that.
Not much breath in between these guys right here. This is the battle for 8th place right now. Roderick in the 56 has it, but Vic Roy has been on his back bumper for quite some time now. Been popping back and forth watching this battle, and Vic Roy doing a good job keeping that Audi as close to the Porsche as possible. The Audi is kind of another one that is kind of making a little bit of a comeback here with the newer model, and some of the guys are certainly taking a keen eye to it. It's the old Audi was not a bad car, but it was just kind of a neutral type car, kind of almost like your BMWs, and it wasn't really, you know, looked at as much compared to the other ones. But the new Audi seems to be a bit of a favor for some of these guys, and that's why you see a couple of the Audis there. You see obviously Frank Bassano, 3rd place in the Pro Division right now in the Audi. Vic Roy right here in the other Audi running in the highest spot, but even down there, Brandon Potts in the M class running 2nd right now in the Audi, as pit stops are certainly starting to happen now, as about half of the field has either come in or is in the pits right now. We are in the 2nd half of this race. It's about time to turn our mics off, crank these boys up, and give you guys a little love to hear it. And the sights and sounds of these GT3 cars, just every different make and model out here just sounds absolutely beautiful. Leader overall there, Tim Ponzi coming into the pits. We'll see if Frank Pisano is going to join him. No, he's going to stay out here. But Joe was taking notice to one thing out here during the Love to Hear It, and not sure if you guys have seen it, but Joe, why don't you go ahead and let us know what you've noticed here with Jim Herrick?
Well, we touched on it there earlier, and he decided to do the short pit. Now, these cars start with 50% fuel, but when you pit, you can put as much in as you want. So Jim pitted there on lap 6, and got enough fuel to make it to the end now, and he is sitting in second, but the leader, Randy Ayers, there still has to pit, so he is sitting in the catbird seat, as they say. And I think it was a great strategy call. I mean, you kind of get out of that cluster of cars, and you get into some clean air, and you can knock out some real good laps. And as that unfolded, I was going to bring it up, and I kind of forgot about it, but as we were there, I was looking through some stuff, and yeah, it's going to be nice and see if he can hold this off here, and we get a chance to talk to him again.
Yeah, apparently he wasn't done talking. He wants to talk to us a little bit more here, running in the top 3 right now, but certainly a chance to get this thing done. Looks like Ayers has come in and come out of the pits. A very, very nice pit stop there for Ayers. Only 10 seconds in the pits, so as long as he has enough fuel, that was a great pit stop. You've seen Ayers before really hunting down your early leader there in John Seamer, but Seamer coming out in traffic, and you've seen him right behind Jim Herrick there, trying to get around him, but not able to do so quite yet. The traffic has hampered Seamer. Ayers was able to get in and out quickly, so the short pit helping out Jim Herrick, and the over pit helping out Randy Ayers. But Randy is definitely the one that comes out on top very nicely here, as he's been putting in some good laps when he's been out front there in that clean air. Gives him a 17.5-second lead over Herrick in second place. Seamer now in third. Potts and Pittman make up your top 5. Seen a car going off there, and trying to see who that was. Was it Pittman? No. Not sure who that was. That went off the track. I was trying to see.
Is that Marco?
No, not Marco. It was yellow and black one, but did not see who that was. Was it Justin Tucker there?
Okay, Tucker, yep.
And this is the Britain's here, and you see he knew he wasn't going to make that turn, so instead of trying to turn in and avoid those tire barriers, he decides to go through the grass and doesn't go shacked in a fool, and brings that the BMW back on track here. But back out front now. Leader once again is James Scioli. He ended up coming into pits 2 laps before Tim Ponzi, and the short pit worked out for him. Able to gap Ponzi a little bit. You see Ponzi still within range, only 2.25 seconds behind the 77 here, and got maybe a little bit, not necessarily fresher tires. I doubt these guys are taking tires here tonight. Pretty much just splash and dash to get these things to the end, unless they're decided to maybe take 2 right side tires, but not worth standing in there and taking 4. I mean, the track position clearly has been prime here tonight, and getting around guys not very easy unless they're making mistakes. And right now, Scioli hasn't made too many mistakes, if any, as he is out there to a 2.1 second lead. Ponzi in second. Pisano, Moeller, and Jancic, your top 5 here in the Pro class. We'll take a look over to the M class here, as another battle here brewing. This is for 5th and 6th place here, as Pittman right there in front, getting flashed by Frug right now, as these guys are running 5th and 6th. Frug is just, he's maybe trying to get under the skin there, Pittman, trying to get up there into the top 5, or maybe didn't appreciate something from earlier, but trying to hang on to the back here and move himself into the top 5. But Seamer now back onto the bumper of Herrick, and these guys are going to be battling for 2nd place one more time here in the AM class.
And Ayers, he was 3rd last week or 2nd? No, he got 2nd last week. Well, he's primed up for another podium this week.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you go 2nd and 1st. That's a pretty good start to the season, especially when it's only a 6-race season. As looks like Corey Laperouse had a bit of an excursion here, and Yeah, going a little bit wide off track here, and deciding that he's had enough for tonight, and he was running towards the back of the pack to begin with, so I don't want to blame him on that. I'm sure there's a lot of guys that have felt the way, and it looks like Peter Muller, another one here, as he was parked alongside the road, and he decides to tow that back to pit lane as well.
That would be me, Carl. That would be me.
So
I would probably get to the point too and just park it before I just ruin somebody's race.
And you see right there, Tim Ponzi going off track, trying to get every little bit to catch up to Scioli, but not happening just yet. It hasn't been easy for him to keep up with him tonight, let alone catch up to him. But battle once again back here for second and third between Herrick and Seamer. Seamer's been the one that's been out in the lead for most of the first half of this race here for the M class, but he's stuck behind Herrick right now. The man that was the first one, I believe, to hit pit road, and he is still holding him off. A good drive right now for the 40.
And he's not going to give it to him. He's going to make him earn it.
Well, he's got 6 more minutes to hold on, as this thing is quickly coming to an end, as these guys will probably have about 2-3 more laps before Barney will be dropping that white and checkered flag, as Scioli leads Ponzi now by 2 seconds. The gap getting a little bit smaller up there. Ayers has a chokehold on the AM class right now, as he is actually running 8th place overall. So great run there by the 66, but he's got 19 seconds ahead of this very, very intense battle here. Both these guys sitting in a podium spot right now, but obviously Seamer wants a little bit more. He wants that second place. Plenty of guys having some little issues here and there going off track, but guys, as we talked about, not really a lot of guys, having that big shunt kind of moment and destroying the car. And it's really what we talked about here with Oulton Park. It's one where you got to keep it on the track just so you don't lose position. And it's been a lot of follow the leader, but guys have figured out a way to move up and move down for sure.
We talked about in the pre-race there, Alan Elwood, who started in the back, he's worked his way up to 9th. Starting in 26th, I think, what it was.
Move here into the last corner for Seamer, as they're going to come side by side out of the corner. The inside is going to go to Herrick for the final corner, but now Seamer is going to have the inside for turn number 1. Who is going to blink, as Herrick's going to send it on the outside, but a little too much on the outside. Touches the grass, and that is going to give a slight edge to Seamer, and yeah, give the position to Seamer, as they have got Renan de Lima breathing down her neck. That is the Pro Division driver, not for position. But Seamer finally gets it done. Certainly too little too late to make any kind of challenge for Ayers, but man, he was working on Herrick for quite some time, and Herrick was not going to give it up easily, so we'll certainly have some more to talk to him about that, but a good showing here, as he is currently running 3rd, but Brendan Potts is not too far behind these guys, as that little bit of a battle has closed in the 25 on the top 3. He's only 1.9 seconds behind Herrick right now, and if Renan de Lima wants to get involved in that mix-up a little bit, it's going to send Herrick right back to him, and he could be looking at a podium yet.
Yeah, Herrick's just trying to hold. He's just trying to hold on here. He wants to get to that, stay on that top 3. But Potts is going to be looking for any kind of mistake and try to capitalize.
Looks like an issue here for Corey Frug. Yeah, already had some issues, so we'll take a look at what caused this right here. And heading into the hairpin, hard impact. That's certainly not how you want to take the hairpin right there. Hard impact into the wall. You see
that bumper is got a mind of its own.
Yeah, the iRacing fishing pole was trying to reel it back in there for him, but he wanted nothing of it and gets it back going. But that car is certainly hurting, and he is going to probably limp that thing back to pit lane. A hard impact there for Frug. Back up here to the battle, and it is certainly going to be a battle indeed. We've got a minute almost, actually 2 minutes left in this race. And now look at the move here by Potts around the outside and to the inside of Renan de Lima. I mean, send it, young man. I mean, I don't know what was going on there, but he's, I've seen, you know, wheels disconnect for guys. I feel like his pedals disconnected there because he went flying in there. How he held that corner as much as he did, I have no idea. Unfortunately, it ends up costing him a spot, and he falls back to 4th. But that's going to now bring Garrett Pittman into the mix, and he gets into Herrick. He's going to have to go through the cones, serve the slowdown penalty. Now the question is, will he be able to hold on to the position as behind Potts goes around? Minute and a half left, and I feel like this repeat of Suzuka. We're seeing some carnage here.
It's the 38 unit this week. Oh my goodness.
Looks like Pittman was able to go through there and still serve the slowdown and keep the position. So move Pittman now into that final podium position. Oh man, what a finish to this thing. And the teammates here, Morera, you see right there, the gray at Porsche, and the blue, Jim Herrick. Both those guys, one of them in the pro and the other one in the AM. But now right there is the slowdown. And Pittman did have to serve it. He loses the position. We are, I believe, on the final lap. So much is going on here. I'm trying to find Barney here to see if I can see if we are indeed on the final lap here or not. See if we can hop on board with Corey here real quick and get a look. And yeah, we are on the white flag. You see Barney in the background right there. White flag in the air. We'll switch back over to your overall leader here. This is James Scioli trying to bring it home here. He's got Tim Ponzi that's been trying to catch him, but still 2.5 seconds behind. As long as he can just keep it calm here through the traffic. But I mean, this traffic was the traffic that was just battling intensely. And that was your third place battle right there. Pittman sending it in, catches the grass, and then catches the barrier just briefly right there. But unfortunately, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place there. Tries to get it turned around as quick as possible and just get out of everybody's way. But, oh man, as your leaders went by right there, that was very close, and that Potts went off right in front of your overall leader there too. I mean, that's not the last lap that Scioli wanted to have, and now he's got another one that he's going to have to deal with. But he gets around him. The lead cut down to less than 2 seconds, but only a couple corners left to navigate for the 77 as he is looking to bring this thing home. One final corner up and over, and a little bit of a left. James Scioli, your Pro Class winner here at Oulton Park. Great run by the 77. Right behind him, Tim Ponzi comes home 1.8 seconds behind him. Frank Pisano currently running in 3rd position as he's going to finish up. A good run by him, just quiet little run there in 3rd, but really, you know, not so much pressure from the rest of the field. Craig Jancic, Jim Dutton going to round out your top 5 there for the Pro Class. Moving over to Randy Ayers here as he is completing his final lap here. 5th place for the AM class already finishing up. That's going to go to Ian Wilson by a mere, looks like 0.3 of a second over Brendan Potts. So the late issues there for Potts drop him from a chance for 3rd all the way down to 6th place that quickly. But coming around the final corners here, and not sure what's going on, but that is Seamer right behind. So, I mean, did Ayers? I think Ayers might have had not enough fuel, and he had to really save here coming to the end. Because I know his pit stop was pretty short, but he is going to have enough to save this thing all the way to the end. Your winner in the M class is going to be Randy Ayers. John Seamer is going to finish in 2nd. And how about this? From nowhere, not even talking about him the entire race. We're about to talk to him after the race. Gray Welch is going to get it done here and finish in 3rd place here in the AM class. What, I don't know why I'm surprised after last week, but hell of a finish, Joe.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a lot going on in that 38th minute. Man, Potts just, wow. Yeah, I don't know how he held that. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, he's sitting there.
I can't believe there was total carnage. That should have been total carnage.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, between him, between Herrick, and between DeLima there, all three of them should have gotten taken out, but somehow he makes it through there. And had he not gone off track a little bit on the exit, I mean, he might have been your third-place finisher here, but what
it would have been one heck of a move.
Oh, my God, what a race here. We'll try and bring these guys in here for an interview. I mean, you talk about these guys needing to take a breath. I think we need to take a breath after that one. I mean, that was absolutely insane to finish this thing out. But yeah, again, your top three here in the pro class is going to be James Scioli, Tim Ponzi, and Frank Pisano. And then looking over at the amateur class is going to be Randy Ayers, John Seamer, and Gray Welch. So, I mean, while I catch my breath here, Joe, I mean, what are your thoughts here from Oulton Park? I mean, you seen how tough Suzuka was last week. This thing presented its own challenges, though.
Yeah, it did. I mean, for a lot of these guys, it seemed like pretty smooth. Some guys were having some problems here and there, but then coming down toward the end, where guys were trying to dig and try to get all they can there towards the end there, the last couple minutes, I mean, it was just pandemonium, as they say, calling those last couple laps. I mean, we were just focused on that on the AM class, and the leaders, the overall leaders in the pro class there were, I mean, there wasn't much of a battle there, but the top three was pretty much the same all night. But man, what another exciting race. These guys put on just an unbelievable show. I mean, it's 31 cars here tonight. A lot to go through, a lot to talk about. Some really good battles, some good passing. Just another good show. I'm ready to do another one.
Now, by another one, you mean broadcast, because I know from these first two races, this is not exactly making you want to road race anymore. I mean,
no, not
just
at all.
Absolutely.
I'm very comfortable in this chair.
So you'd rather be in the broadcast booth and not in the car. Yeah, that's definitely for sure. But yeah, these guys.
We got some time before that's going to happen.
All right, well, let's go ahead and try and get some of these guys up here, as we're still waiting for some of them. But we'll go ahead and go in a little bit of reverse order here this week, and we'll start with our winner here in the pro class. Let me just get back a couple laps here, and then we will bring in your winner here, James Scioli. Let me switch over, as sometimes it doesn't like to be nice to me. There we go. So we will go ahead and, Joe, why don't you go ahead and take our overall winner here, the 77 of James Scioli.
Hey, James, Joe up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I got you guys.
Oh, what a race, man. Started out front, fastest in practice. Talk us through your race there.
Yeah, definitely not what I was expecting. This is my first time running with you guys, and really my first time attempting any GT3 stuff. I mainly run NASCAR stuff, NASCAR League stuff, so don't do a whole lot of officials and don't do a whole lot of road racing. So just kind of jumping in here. Got a couple buddies that were running it, so I figured out what the heck, just give it a shot and see what we got. And definitely didn't expect to be fastest in practice. Kind of messed up my qualifying lap, so I didn't expect to be on pole. And then once I knew that I just wanted to just try and maintain a good gap once I got out front and try and keep the tires on it. Wasn't too hot of a track temp, so the tires stayed on it pretty good, but definitely just wanted to look after the rears and just try and keep Tim behind me. He's got some crazy pace, so I imagine he'll be pretty quick and pretty tough to beat all season. So just glad I could get this one out the way.
Yeah, Tim, he was the overall winner last week, and was just right there behind you all race, along with Frank Pisano, and you guys were gone after what, like 10, 15 minutes of the race. I mean, the top three were just, I mean, you and Tim were in a league of your own, and then Frank was just there behind you guys, just trying to see if anybody would make a mistake. But like last week, there was a real hard track. This week, another real hard track. And I heard you said you are like now my favorite driver in this series because you are like NASCAR guy. So that's where I'm coming from. Yeah,
I got a fan. So, let's go.
Yeah. I'm new into this. Like, I would not be talking after a road race at all. If I did, that means something bad happened to everybody else. I'm still learning the ways of the road. So, but I was like, explain to me from your side, like, the differences. of what you need to know and learn, and how to be talking to a broadcaster after a race.
Yeah, for sure. The biggest thing's just trying to learn downforce. So I've kind of made it a point, at least in all my NASCAR stuff, I've really just tried to be the best road racer in all my leagues and everything. I just want to be the best on the road course in the NASCAR stuff. But they don't have much downforce and they make a lot less rear grip. So the big thing is just trying to learn that downforce and how much it can really hold you in the corners. You really push a lot harder in these things. So that's something that I'm still trying to get used to. NASCAR stuff, you got to be a lot more patient, a lot more tire saving. These you can kind of run all out. So I'd say that those are the biggest things, and just like tire wear especially, there's a lot of fall off in the NASCAR stuff, not really here. So definitely some big differences and a big learning curve, but I do think it's easier to go from the NASCAR stuff over to this side than it would be to go from this side to the NASCAR stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the problem I have is, in the NASCAR and the oval stuff, you're trying to save tires, so you're trying to pace yourself and you're not really go slow, but like just have some kind of pace. But here you can just kind of drive the heck out of it sometimes, I feel like, and there's like a switch you need to flip, and I haven't found that switch yet.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely tough to balance the two. So just hoping to get some more experience this season for sure. Maybe start running a little bit more official stuff too, to get more comfortable.
All right, let's see. This is your first race, and you're coming away with a win. What we got? Road Atlanta next week? Is that where we're at, Carl? I think so. Road Atlanta.
I believe yes, it is Road Atlanta. Yes.
So, have you raced that track much?
Not a whole lot of experience at Road Atlanta. I definitely have run a couple more laps here and like Global Mazdas and stuff. So that's going to be, I know it's a favorite track of a lot of people. So I'm sure they're going to have some good pace there. I'm going to have to try and close that gap for sure.
Have to get some extra practice in before next week.
Yep, definitely.
All right, well, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'll give a big shout out to Elwood Designs, Alan Elwood. He painted this car, and Simrap Market as well. Big shout out to those guys, and hopefully we're talking to you guys again next week.
All righty, well, you put on a show for us, so we'll looking forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
All right, that is your overall winner in the pro class, the 77 of James Scioli. Now we'll bring in our second place finisher, and really was trying to give him everything he could here in this race, the 46 of Tim Ponzi. Tim, a little bit of a repeat of last week. You find yourself starting up there towards the front and really just kind of hounding the leader the entire time. He comes into the pits early, and you have your time to shine at the front, but it seems like the short pit kind of got him out there to about a 2.5-second lead, and you can never rebound from there. Do you look back and feel like maybe you should have followed him into the pits? Do you feel like this was the best strategy, or are you happy with the second?
I don't know, man. I don't know if it was my out lap. I come out 2 seconds back. I thought I caught some good open areas with traffic when he pitted in. I thought if I can get around the guy in front, that I would have some clear sailing, and I just couldn't lay down a good enough lap. Then yeah, I came out 2 seconds back and then just started reeling, and I was hopeful because I knew there was some traffic coming, and I ended up just pushing wide and won and got to slow down, and that was about it. But even if I'd have caught him, it's really hard to pass here. I don't think I would have got around him. He had excellent pace.
Well, that was going to be my next question. I mean, obviously Suzuka last week had its fair share of just tough moments and tough spots on the track. This place is pretty much tough everywhere, and I think it kind of proved that and showed why it was just kind of single file the entire time. Really tough track to pass here. I mean, we were talking with Jim before the race that the track is 2, and you could probably even fit 3 cars wide if you want to, but when you're out there driving, it feels more like a cattle chute.
It is. It's a hot lap track for me. I knew it was going to come down to qualifying. He got me by like 500s. And yeah, and I was doing good with incidents, and then I was just pushing towards the end, and it ended up costing me. So I'm happy with second. I can't complain. I mean, the dude had great pace. I can't take anything away from him. I mean, even if we'd have caught traffic, that's not a way to get around somebody. So yeah. But yeah, it was, I don't know if it was net code or whatever, man, but he was, from my point of view, he was slamming into them tire barriers. I had sparks flying all over me. I'm like, there ain't no way he's driving away from that. And sure as hell, he was down the road he went.
Well, I mean, as close as you were following behind him, you're probably happy that he was driving away from that, because if not, you've been driving into the back of him.
Yeah, right.
But either way, I mean, a win last week at Suzuka. You got a second place here, and now you guys head to Road Atlanta next week. A little bit more open there. You got a little bit more chances to breathe in some of the areas there. I mean, these last couple of tracks, very little straightaways that you can actually just, kind of let your hair down, let your shoulders down a little bit and breathe. But next week at Road Atlanta, it has its technical sections, but at least get some straightaways where you can maybe get at it a little bit.
Yeah, definitely a lot more flow to that track. I'm really looking forward to it. I didn't have much time at this track, just kind of learning the ins and outs of it this week, and then really looking forward to next week. And I definitely got to move my pedals back because my knees are killing me after all that braking in this track.
I can certainly understand that. So, yeah, I mean, talk about that chicanes here real quick. I mean, the chicanes at this track, most tracks, chicanes suck. Plain and simple. They're usually tough, but they usually come with big old sausage curbs or something like that. Where if you hit them, it's not going to be great. It's going to hurt your lap. But here, you don't have to worry about sausage curbs. You got to worry about big old tire barriers.
Yeah. Well, I started learning a little. It's just laps, just seat time. Different angles that come into the first one. I was learning it if I instead of trying to take it so straight. Come in at a little more of an angle and then cut back, and it's you hit it once and you're like, oh, that's awesome, and you can never do it again. And it just takes practice, man, and that's all it boils down to. And yeah, you definitely want to get as close as you can to them big tire barriers.
Well, either way, first place last week, second place this week, a good start to the season, especially only being a 6-race season. Anybody you want to give a shout out to or thanks to this week?
Yeah, Jim for the league, the wife obviously for I put some time in down here, so she allows all that stuff to happen, and 4D Racewear, man, for sponsoring this and getting you guys involved. It's awesome to watch these, and everybody else gets to watch them. Can't wait. I'm going to be ordering a pair here shortly, so get some shoes.
Absolutely. Well,
maybe it'll help with my knees.
There you go.
Exactly.
All about comfort.
And get you that 500s there in qualifying as well. So,
that's all I needed.
All right, buddy. Well, we'll let you go, and we'll see you next week at Road Atlanta.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Your second place finisher in the pro class, the 46 of Tim Ponzi. Now we will round it out here in the the pro class, and probably the quietest run here tonight. Joe, why don't you go ahead and take our third place finisher here, Frank Bassano?
Yeah, probably the quietest third place finish we'll talk about all year. I mean, Frank, you were pretty much third all race long there. James and Tim kind of were gone there for a little bit, and but you were gapping the rest of the field too. Talk us through your race tonight.
Well, I'll take quiet and boring anytime if I'm running third.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a fun race. I was able to watch the guys in front of me, James and Tim, battle it out a little bit, and it was a fun race.
Well, last week you finished 9th, and now was that like was a harder track for you than this one, or you just have a little bit more experience here, or talk about the differences there?
I practiced a little more on this track.
Okay.
At Suzuka, I spun twice, and that's and that put me down to 9th. But yeah, I enjoy a challenging track like this. And I had a gas.
So we go to Road Atlanta next week. How do you feel about that?
I like that track. I've way back in the day, I raced karts on that track in the mid '80s. So I'm quite familiar with it. Looking forward to it.
So he got some real experience there. So there's a chance we may be talking to you again next week.
I hope so. If I have a boring, quiet race like I had tonight, I hope to talk to you again.
Yeah, try to speak up a little bit next time.
Okay.
Well, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, sure. My wife upstairs, Patty, for doing the dishes on Wednesday nights. I appreciate that. Jim Dunton, the owner of the series, and all the admins for all the work they do. 4D Racewear for their sponsorship of the series. And I've got family up in Wisconsin, the Bensons. Shout out to the Bensons. And my friends from Custom Home Electric. Shout out to them.
Right on. Well, congrats on the third, and we'll see you next week at Road Atlanta.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
At your third place finisher in the pro class, the 38 of Frank Bassano. Yeah, I agree with him. Quiet or not, I will certainly just go ahead and take a third place here, especially.
Yeah, just talk to me after the race.
Yeah.
Don't say anything to me. Don't even show me on TV.
Yep, no broadcaster's curse. Nope, not exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not here.
That is real. That is a real thing. Okay, let's just nip that in the bud. That's a real thing.
All right, now we will go ahead and switch over to the AM class here and bring in your winner here in the AM class. That is going to be the 66 of Randy Ayers. And Randy, another heck of a run here tonight. You were really battling John there in the beginning, and we're kind of right up there and trying to just pass him on straight speed. But he ends up going into the pits a couple laps before you, and really that ended up being the difference. It seemed like a lot of guys going in for the short pit came out and had a great experience doing it, but he came out with a little bit of traffic. You were able to use that clean air, stretch out a good-sized lead. Got to ask you, though, you come out with a big lead. Looked like you took a bit shorter of a pit stop than everybody else. Did you have to save there at the end?
No, I didn't have to save at all. Yeah, no problems. No problems. I have plenty of fuel. I ran out right after the start, but no, I did, or right after the finish. Sorry, but I didn't have to save.
Yeah, we've seen quite a big lead, and all of a sudden it was gone there at the end. So I thought, you know what, that short pit, he may not have taken enough fuel, and now all of a sudden he's going to save there right at the end. And John was right there at the end. So I mean, was it issues that maybe we didn't see on screen that really cost you that big lead that you had?
I missed a shift coming into the second chicane, and started to accelerate out and realized I was in third gear instead of second, and the car just didn't want to go. Alan made a pass on the left, and I held tight to the right, and we got net code. Bing, and I spun around. So it took me several seconds to get righted again. I had to let a couple cars go by before I could turn around and get back on track. So, and then John was right behind me again for a couple laps. So I had to step up my game again.
Absolutely. Well, you did so, and you did a good job here tonight. Obviously, you're one of the fastest AM class cars regardless. And you come home with the win here tonight. Was not easy out there, and it seemed like that the biggest thing, other than fighting the track itself, was passing. Passing seemed to be really, really at a premium, if you could even do it at all. Was it all just kind of follow the leader and wait till that person made a mistake? Was there any places you could maybe set up a pass here tonight?
Yes, if you were a little bit like a half a second faster in the car in front of you, there are a couple places you could get by. But you got to take a chance, and the guy getting past has to work with you as well. So it is a tough place to pass. I think I made the majority of my passes when the cars went off track in front of me. So
that's a good time to do it. That certainly makes it a heck of a lot easier.
It's a lot easier, yeah.
Well, you get it done here tonight. You get the win here at Oulton Park. Certainly a tough one for a lot of these guys out here. Road Atlanta next week on the schedule. What are your thoughts going into that one?
Yeah, it's going to be a high-speed track. Going to be a lot of drafting there. Going to be some passes coming off the back straight into the chicane there. So it's going to be a spicy race for sure. Well, turn one is always, lap one, turn one there is always a handful.
Oh, yeah. Well, it seems like that's the theme of the season here. I mean, obviously, turn one at Suzuka, we had our issues. Here, it looked like everybody, I think, but Dan Marrera got through turn one okay. He was the only one, I think, that spun around. But, yeah, turn ones are never fun, especially when you're coming out here with 30-plus guys trying to go into the same corner. But you get it done, you survive. That's probably my final question. What is it like? You guys being in the AM class, you're starting, usually around mid-pack. You coming out here starting 15th overall. You got, 14 guys in front of you. You got another 15, 16 guys behind you, and this tight little track here. How chaotic is it at the start?
Yeah, I stream most of my races, and I wear a heart rate monitor when I do that. And if you watch my heart rate, the first couple laps, it's up there pretty good. I personally don't really worry about the people behind me. I almost 100% concentrate on the people in front of me and next to me. And, if something happens behind, it's totally out of my control. So I can only control the things that I see in front of me. So that's what I concentrate on.
Yeah, that's a good mindset to have. And we were talking about the breathing too. It'd be nice to have like lung monitors to see how much these guys are breathing, because it's one thing you kind of get caught up and you don't realize you're getting tense from just not breathing fully. But you let that you let that Porsche breathe there pretty good at the end. Maybe had to tense up a little bit when you seen John close in on those last couple laps. But you get it done here tonight. Congrats again on the win. We'll see you next week at Road Atlanta. But before we let you go, anybody you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Yeah, you guys are doing an amazing job. This league is great. Thanks for everybody that organized this, and thanks for you guys for broadcasting it. You guys put on a really good show, and I'm really enjoying this. So shout out to everybody in the league too that's making this possible. You're all fun to race with, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. We'll see if we can talk to you again next week. So go ahead and congratulations again, and we'll go celebrate.
I'm gonna go grab a beer right now. So
There we go.
Attaboy. Music to Joe's ears here. All right. That is your winner here in the AM class, the 66 of Randy Ayers. Now we'll bring in the second place finisher and the guy that was kind of dominating a lot here, and one of the few guys out here that made a car other than the Porsche work out here. Joe, why don't you go ahead and take our second place, the 12 of John Seamer.
Hey, John, looks like you had control of the race there early on, and we hit the pits and kind of came out there behind Jim and had a little battle with him. Talk us through your race there tonight.
It was a wonderful, race to experience, not getting any serious incidents. I think the only one that really happened was the pit stop was a little off cycle, which I guess I was talking to some of you guys in the broadcast booth beforehand, and we're talking about like when you should kind of use that, because you have that fast reset or the fast repair. So I probably should have waited on that. And then I got caught up with Brian, who again, wonderful guy. I think he sat in the pit lane, and I pulled around him because he had stopped, and then I got a black flag, so I had to do a drive-through, and that really killed the race. And so from there, I was kind of battling back to really kind of make back pace, and somehow I ended up with Randall at the end. We came close enough, but we were seconds apart. So, but yeah, overall, great race. So.
Yeah, we didn't see the pit road problem you had there. We thought that Randall had it. He had a huge lead, and then all of a sudden, the last lap, I was like, "Whoa, hold on now a second. John's right there." He just he came out of nowhere.
Any opportunity to not do what he did last week, which was Austin Powers myself into the pit lane, would have been
that's right.
Moment.
I don't remember your name for some reason.
Was that you?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I showed that probably 5 guys at work, and they all laughed their butts off. So it was hilarious. Thank you so much for the amazing commentating. You make this so much more fun for everybody.
Well, thank you for give us an opportunity. By Austin Powder yourself.
It's been a blast these last 2 races. I mean, you guys are giving us a heck of a show. I mean, a lot to talk about. Some great passing, some great racing. Just unbelievable racing.
I'm sure so many cars on track really helps out with just how much action there is. I'm sure some of these can get boring, but hopefully we make it fun. And yeah, it'd be hilarious to hear some of the in-driver commentary along with if you were listening to a Formula One race. You know what I mean? That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. So we go to Road Atlanta next week. How are we feeling about that?
I'm excited about that. I think I didn't really see this track as, I guess this is more of a small town track and not your big GT3 car style. I guess I think that Road Atlanta is probably more in that category. So I'm really looking forward to a little more asphalt out there. And yeah, I think driven that one a lot longer. So looking forward to just knowing it better and kind of how to push yourself there. So yeah, it should be a fun race.
I try to get some more track, some more space for you guys to make some more passes, to give us some more things to talk about.
No doubt, yeah, and I think I love following the different circuits. These are all new, right? I guess new. They're smaller circuits, but I definitely like going the ones that I know better for sure. So,
all right, anybody want to give a shout out to on that 12?
I I wish I prepared for that, but no, my wife is just probably the only person who really supports me a ton, and people who watch me. Actually, my coworker who watches these streams, he's a big fan of that stuff, is huge and huge supporter for me, so I appreciate it.
Right on. Well, congrats on the second, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, gentlemen, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep, no problem.
That is your second place finisher here tonight, the 12 of John Seamer, and just proof in the pudding right there of what happens when you don't slide yourself sideways into the pit lane. You know, you can come away with a good run here. But finally, we will turn over to, I mean, we talked about how quiet the third place was for Frank Pisano, but I mean, how quiet was the finish here for Gray Welch in third place here in the AM class? Gray, you're coming to the final couple laps there. You knew a podium was on the line, right?
Dude, honestly, I had no idea. I didn't know where I was. I was so focused on just not wrecking. That's all I was worried about.
Well, it seems like everybody that was in front of you was that's kind of what they were focused on the last couple of laps is wrecking that to get you up into that spot. I mean, we're watching on screen now when you got past Brendan Potts and Jim Herrick had his issues. It was crazy. They all just kind of fell by the wayside, and I guess maybe had that that Spaceballs BMW and ludicrous speed on that on the last couple laps there, because you found your way up to the front. And I mean, we're looking at there was, I think, about like 7 or 8 different guys the last couple laps that were in third at one point or another, and all of a sudden we look up and it's like, okay, no, Brett, no, Gray, where did he come from?
Where did this guy come from?
I didn't know I come from there either, man. It was a lot of fun.
So, I mean, we talked to the other guys here, how tough it was to make passes. I mean, this track is very tight, it's very technical, and there's really no chance to breathe. You're always either in a corner or setting up the next corner. And I mean, you talked about how easy it was in the last couple laps with the guys going off track, but I mean, other than guys making mistakes, how are you finding the passing or lack thereof here tonight?
Lack thereof. I mean, I got to give it to Ian Wilson. That guy can defend like nobody else can. I think he kept me behind him for I don't know how many laps. And then Antonio got by me. And then after that, there was a hiccup with somebody else, and I was lucky enough to get by the two of them. And that just let me go at that point. I was very lucky.
Well, it worked out. I mean, you get yourself on the podium, whether you expected it or not, whether you even realize it or not coming across the line. You get a good job here, and you get the third. And I mean, at a track like this, does this feel like, you know, a third is even better than a third?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly thought I was going to finish somewhere and towards the end, honestly. So I'm blown away that I'm even here.
So looking at the rest of the schedule, it gets, if you want to consider, it gets a little bit easier. You guys head to Road Atlanta, Okayama. The track's going to open up a little bit. Mount Panorama is kind of Jekyll and Hyde, where you got half hard and half easy, and then Coda can just bite you at any place as well. So are there any tracks on the remaining schedule that you're looking forward to?
All of them but Bathurst. We have a love-hate relationship, and that track scares me a little bit. So we'll be revisiting some segments and doing a lot of practice there.
All right, well, we'll see what you can do, and we'll see if you can maybe get in the top 3 a little less quietly in one of the next couple races. We'll talk to you again here. But before we let you go here tonight, anybody you want to give a shout-out to or thanks to?
Oh, I mean, you guys in the league, really, honestly, it's thanks to everybody for putting it together. I mean, it's a great group of guys.
All right, well, we will let you go ahead and celebrate your podium finish here tonight, and we'll see you next week at Road Atlanta.
All right, boys, have a good evening.
You too. That was your third place finisher. Finally, we finally decided to get a third place finisher after all that melee in the last couple laps, and it is the 19 of Gray Welch. And you like those. I mean, we talked about it before. It's sometimes you don't need to be the fastest. Sometimes you don't need to be the guy that is, the one to beat out there. You need luck to fall your way. And I feel like that's certainly a case there for Gray Welch, sneaking away with a nice little podium there. And those are the kind of results that can, obviously help you in the point standings, but, build a little confidence too, knowing that, it's all I got to do is keep the car clean and drive smooth. And even if I'm getting held up, there's still a good chance that I can finish up there towards the top.
Yeah, definitely. And, he, like he said, he came into this with not a whole lot of expectation, and sometimes I think that calms you, and you're just like, just let's just race the race and see what happens. Sometimes when you have speed at tracks that you're really good at, you want to push, and because you want to be fast, because you have that confidence, and sometimes you can overstep that boundary. But not the case for Gray here tonight. Came in with low expectations and came away with a third place, an even quieter third place finish than Frank Pisano. I mean, just smooth and steady. Another smooth and steady race.
Yeah, that's really all it takes. That is going to do it. We'll give you one last rundown of the results here for the race, and starting with the pro class, it is going to be James Scioli in first, Tim Ponzi, Frank Bassano, Craig Jancic, Jim Dutton, your top 5, Carnes, Vic Roy, Elwood, Chacon, and DeLima rounding out your top 10. Rounding out the rest of the field is going to be Fetter Place, Morera, Roderick, Moeller, Price, and Mesmer. In the AM class, winner is going to be Randy Ayers, John Seamer, Gray Welch, Jim Herrick, Ian Wilson, your top 5. Then you got Potts, Torres, Frug, Pittman, Diaz, your top 10. Rounding out the AM class is going to be Little, Lausen, Ferrerin, Tucker, Laperouse, Potts, and Edwards. I mean, Potts did take the start and didn't really, I don't think, make it even a lap before he had issues. And Chris Edwards not making the green flag here tonight. But tons of cars out here, and they all put on a great show. Already looking forward to next week at Road Atlanta. I know, Joe, you are as well. It was a fantastic run again by these guys here, and really putting on a good show. And I mean, I'd say some of these guys need to know how to finish a race, but I'm fine the way it is. They're putting on some great action here at the end, and it's certainly spicing it up here right at the end. And I'm sure guys like Gray Welch don't mind it getting a little spicy too as he gets that third place here tonight. But thank you again to 4D Racewear and Jim Herrick over there. Certainly make sure you check them out at 4dracewear.com for all your sim racing needs for your footwear, and get the racing gloves for your feet. Thank you to Jim Dutton and all the guys over here at CSRL. But for myself and Joe Sullivan, we'll see you at the track.